The story you are about to see is...
Oh, boy.
The names have been changed to protect
Not
the
this
innocent.
again. A note from corporate. The Neutral Ground with Corey Johnson on a Friday has been canceled. We'll be running Dragnet episodes that are nearly 60 years old instead. There's my boy. Number 9, Mr. Drew Brees, giving us the old intro, the green light to get things rolling on a Fantasy Friday edition of the program. They're rolling out by the Lakefront, by the UNO Lakefront Arena right now. Hogs for the Cause, serving up some barbecue and the like. They'll do it till late night tonight. I think they go pretty late. And tomorrow night, they go till around 10, 11, midnight. Pretty crazy stuff out there. It's like a mini jazz fest, like a mini French Quarter fest with maybe just a little less congestion. And in that area where the Pope once spoke, right behind the Lakefront Arena, between Lakeshore Drive and the arena, Franklin Avenue, Leon C. Simon, Franklin Avenue and Lakeshore Drive. Yeah, you right. Did I mention a Fantasy Friday? Yeah, the weekend's upon us. 70s and 80s for like the next 10 days. And the rain we were expecting, we could still get a little drizzle here or there, but nothing that was predicted just a few short days ago. So that's some good news. You got to like that. Got to like that. I'm sitting here looking at some, no, never mind. Thought it was breaking news. Got to stay on top of that. Not anything breaking right now. We do have a full slate on a Fantasy Friday edition of the program. Michael Heck from Greater New Orleans Inc. will not be joining us. He's with us. I mean, it used to be about every 3 out of 4 Fridays. Now it's about every 9 out of 10. He'll even join us when he's on the road, but he is trying to stir up some business for the city of New Orleans and will not be joining us today, but will be back in a week. Coming up in about 12 minutes from WDSU Channel 6 Sports, sports reporter, sports blogger, sports anchor, sports director. Another edition of Fridays with Fletcher Mackel will be with us, filling us in on all kind of good stuff. LSU, Virginia Tech going at it in less than 2 hours on ESPN from Dallas, the Final Four women's basketball. Kind of a little nervous, actually, as a Tiger fan. First off, Virginia Tech is a deep veteran team. Got lots of juniors, lots of seniors on that team. And there's just a ton of talk about LSU, about Kim Mulkey, about the Final Four, about the Texas reunion. Success so quickly. One win away from a national title game, maybe a rematch with South Carolina. The South Carolina thing, I mean, they're undefeated. Dawn Staley, been there, done that. They've got national titles under their belt. Are they overlooking Iowa? I don't know. Is the media overlooking Iowa? Probably so. But South Carolina's got a ridiculously solid resume sheet going on a few seasons now, almost a decade. Virginia Tech is the higher seed than LSU. I hope Kim Mulkey focuses in on that. I mean, she's a veteran coach. I'm not too worried about her overlooking Virginia Tech, but boy, there just seems to be so much talk about LSU and Kim Mulkey, Angel Reese, the Bayou Barbie, all of this, and not a lot of talk about Virginia Tech. Iowa, you hear a little bit about them. That point guard they have that's 6 feet that just bombs it from practically half court. I mean, anything in between like the top of the key and the half court circle, seriously, anywhere in between that, like NBA 3-point range, she can make it. Now, I'm sure a lot of Tiger fans, if LSU loses at 6 o'clock, they won't be watching much of South Carolina and Iowa. But if LSU wins, they probably will. And you'll see this sharpshooter who has to be the best outside shooter in all of women's college basketball, especially the depth, the distance. Pretty amazing. Anyway, we'll talk to Fletch about that. The Pels scoop up a nice win against arguably the NBA's best team, sans their best player, but still, it's down the stretch time. Teams are going to rest players, especially if there's no incentive, if they're not going to lose any seeding, that type of thing. They're going to rest players. LSU has the Pels have a pretty tough 5-game stretch. All playoff teams right now. Every team that they're playing is a playoff team. 4 of the 5 are seated higher than the Pels. 4 of the 5 come from the Western Conference. So the Pelicans have their work cut out for them. But just like the Denver game, hopefully, selfishly I say this, hopefully some stars are rested. The Pelicans can get some key victories. And maybe even slip to the 6th seed. They're 1 out of the 6th seed where you wouldn't have to play in that play-in game. We'll talk to Fletcher about all that good stuff. Frank Brigtsen will join us in an hour, the 5 o'clock power hour, as he always does, from his iconic restaurant in the Riverbend in the Carrollton section of Uptown. Corey Johnson with you on a Fantasy Friday edition of the program. Yeah, you right. Hey, Rouse's Markets phone lines are open. 766-9480. 504-766-9480. Rouse's Markets phone lines. 766-9480. Love to hear from you. Had a full slate yesterday. Absurd amount of topics. The Trump news breaking, the OIG subpoena, the sheriff's office, those were breaking yesterday. The mayor and the softball interviews with local media, some more egregious than others. I mentioned transgender athletes and just said that this thing is not complicated. It is actually the opposite, ridiculously easy. A transgender man, welcome to play in competitive men's sports. No problem. Transgender females should not be playing, should not be competing against other females in college, Olympics, or pro sports. There is a physical advantage that can't be overlooked. It is an unfair physical advantage that can't be overlooked. So transgender men playing against male athletes, no problem at all. More power to you. Females in general competing against men in male sports, more power to you. Fantastic. But transgender females should not be competing against females in college, Olympic, or professional sports. Rouse's Markets phone line, 766-9480. Agree? Disagree? Love to get your take, 766-9480. New Orleans has over 2,000 auto thefts in 2023 so far this year. It's mind-blowing. 90 days, 2,000 auto thefts. That's about a car being stolen in Orleans Parish every hour. It's 23 a day. So what, every hour and 3 minutes, every hour and 4 minutes, a vehicle is stolen on average. I mean, last year, it's been trending upwards for about the last decade. Last year, over 4,300 cars stolen. If the trending continues this year, it'll be over 8,000. It's obnoxious. I mean, is it a good chance your car is going to get stolen? Are you going to get carjacked or shot at on the interstate if you're driving in Orleans Parish? No, it's not a good chance. But it is an insanely higher percentage than it should be. About 1 car an hour, 24/7, stolen in Orleans Parish. The mayor refuses to give a statement or answer questions during that PIB investigation of Officer Vappy. That's a little crazy. Hey, every day we broadcast live from the Buddy Diliberto River City's Total Maintenance Studios. We're fading into summer now. If your AC is not working right, making a funny noise, or worse, not working at all, you need to get it fixed. River City's Total Maintenance is there for you. Honest air conditioning experts that come right now. Find them at NOLAAC.com. Every day, we do it from the Buddy Diliberto River City's Total Maintenance Studios.
Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com. Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com.
Fausto's Italian Bistro on Vets has daily lunch specials Monday through Friday, and their entire lunch menu is available too. Open 11 a.m. through 2:30 p.m. For the finest in Sicilian and Italian cuisine, Fausto's Italian Bistro on Vets.
Greater New Orleans, a destination for learning. With 13 colleges and universities and a booming job market, Greater New Orleans is the ultimate destination for your higher education. Your path to the future begins in Greater New Orleans. Find out more at studynola.com.
Being a part of people's lives, from an engagement ring to a wedding band. Before you know it, the wedding day is here and groom and bride are exchanging gifts on that day. And not too long after that, there's baby gifts to have. And I just enjoy being part of other people's family, saying, Mr. Friend did my engagement ring and he did my mom and dad's engagement ring. My name is Ken Friend of Friend & Company Fine Jewelers. You've got a friend in the jewelry business.
Ford F-150, #1 seller in America. What about in the USA? Let's see, what about in the world? Who sells more trucks than Ford? Nobody. It's because the Lamarck team is the real team. All that makes it happen is one goal. Everybody having a great experience at Lamarck Ford. We became #1 for a reason, because we're good. And we need to prove it every day, every deal, all the time.
From the owners of Katie's in Mid-City and Bienvenue in Harahan, an old school deli with over a dozen specialty sandwiches. Francesca Deli and Pizzeria on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview between Canal Boulevard and West End. Francesca Deli and Pizzeria.
The Port of New Orleans is the gateway to global commerce, the economic engine that moves Louisiana and our country forward. For more than 125 years, Port Nola has continued to deliver the goods we use each and every day, by river, rail, and by road. No matter what, it all happens right here, delivering Louisiana's future at the Port of New Orleans, your working river. Learn more about your Port of New Orleans. Visit portnola.com.
River City's Total Maintenance keeps you cool. NOLAAC.com, your cool side. NOLAAC.com, your cool side.
Which Metro New Orleans area restaurant made CNN's top 50 in America and ThrillList.com's top 25 and has served presidents at the White House for over 40 years? Trey Yen in Mandeville.
Why wear the same old glasses that everyone else is wearing? Stand out from the crowd. Come to Art and Eyes. Art and Eyes is not your typical eyeglasses store. It's one of the finest eyewear shops in the country, right here in New Orleans, with precision-engineered prescription lenses and gorgeous high-quality frames from the heart of Europe, Japan, and the United States. Our products are thoughtfully curated, and our staff are here to help you find exactly the right frames. Art and Eyes are magazine, as unique as you.
Young's Dry Cleaning has free pickup and delivery. That's right. Young's Dry Cleaning has absolutely free pickup and delivery. Home or office, East Bank or West Bank. Call Young's at 288-8381 or online at youngsdrycleaning.com.
Did you know Rouse's sells only Angus beef? Angus beef's natural marbling means more succulence and flavor. Whether you choose Rouse's USDA Prime, Choice, or Select, it'll be only Angus beef when you get it at Rouse's. Tastes like home.
The Woodhouse Day Spa, with 5 area locations: New Orleans, Metairie, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and now Mandeville. A day of relaxation is just moments away at the Woodhouse Day Spa. WoodhouseSpas.com.
It's pretty amazing. He's using his one phone call from jail after being arrested for arson. That's right, arson. Fletcher Mackel joins us from Tulane and Broad at OPP. What up, Fletch?
What's up, Corey? I'm actually out working. I'm going to an edit day so I can deal with your insanity and quiet peace here for a few minutes.
You're at the Channel 6 facility where I saw your mommy drop you off some food about a month ago.
That is correct. For context, just for people who may not have been listening a month ago, my mother served food to the homeless on Tuesday night, and she felt weird about it when they started doing COVID. It used to be like a buffet, and they would serve. And then they started putting it obviously like in styrofoam, like nobody's serving during COVID. And then they told all the women from her church group that volunteer, if you all don't take it, we have to just throw it out. So she's like, she calls me every Tuesday if they have extras. I'm like, yeah. Bring me a hot plate. I'll take it. So, yeah.
I'm going to use this 70s term that I love and that you always crunch me on. I was with a chickadee in the car and she said, who has their mommy bring them food? And then she goes, oh, that's that guy that drives that 40-year-old clanky Mercedes. Oh, yeah, I know who that guy is.
That would be me.
Yeah.
That would be me.
All right. Anyway. I had to stop you that day we were discussing that. Fletch, I mean, some girl sees you in that car. She's like, dude, I mean, come on, if she's going to judge me on the vehicle, F-bomb, who wants to be with that girl anyway,
That's true. Who cares if anybody wants to, I like my old car, but if anybody wants to judge me on it, then they're probably not me. I do have to ask you a question. I know you ask me questions. Are you ready?
Yeah, of course. Anytime you like. I'm an open book.
Well, just because last year you poked at us so much with it. And again, look, I agree. 26 of 26 media members all picked the Saints to have a winning record last year. And obviously we were all wrong. Like the year before, I had no faith in Taysom or Jameis. And I picked them to go 6-11, and Sean Payton got him to 9-8, which I thought was a great job coaching with what they dealt with. But this year, I have to point out, 3 sports books came out in Vegas. Is Vegas stupid? They have them the win total at 9.5. So worst case scenario, Vegas thinks they are a winning record team. Are we crazy?
No, I last year I mentioned that about the 25 sports guys all picking. First off, it was 24, or I think it was 25 of 26 had 10 plus wins. Just obnoxiously wrong and biased.
I also think, let me say this. One had 9-8.
That was Ed Daniels. That was the only one. Everyone else, no one had him at below 500. It was everyone else double-digit wins. Some 11, 12 wins. Obnoxious.
Let me say this. I think one person had 12. I think, I'm not kidding, I think 22 had like 10-7. So I think everybody went like 10-7, thinking, okay, last
you're incorrect on that. It was about half were 10, half were 11, and there were 3 12s. You're incorrect.
How many were there?
I think it was about 10 or so 10s, about 10 or so 11s, and like 3 12s.
Yeah, I don't know if it was that many 11s, but sure, that's fine. But it was. I don't know if there were 3 12s, but my point being is and that's what I tell everybody. Because again, we work in a public industry and it's talking about sports, and I always tell people that, because I joke, I always tell people, I go, the year before, I think half the media picked them to have a losing record, and I was one of them that did, and I was wrong. And last year, everybody seemed to harp on the fact that it's everybody picked them to win, and it's okay, but this year, the big 3 sports books came out, and they all have them with a winning record. That's what I think is funny. Everybody, last year in Green Bay, I went back and looked at all their predictions in Milwaukee, Green Bay, Wisconsin media. They all had the Packers with winning record, winning the division, going deep. And it's and they didn't, and they missed the playoffs. And it was just again, I think people are right and people are wrong, but I do think sometimes, everybody likes to harp on that. But I did think it was funny this week. I couldn't wait to bring it up with you because three sports books, the big three, I think it was like FanDuel and whatever some other ones were, had 9.5 wins for the Saints, which was, they think they're going to low mark. Vegas thinks the Saints are a winning team.
A couple of points. One, just go down the radio dial and you can find out all the sports books you need to know about, for starters. I think each and every personality on the station promotes a sports book. Second, was there a question there?
No. Well, no. I guess there wasn't a question. I guess.
Fletch, look, I'm going to answer your statement indirectly. Last year, the Vegas over/under was what, 8.5, something like that.
Yeah, Vegas over/under last year was 8.5.
Okay, so not one media member was with Vegas, lined up with Vegas. Not a single one. You would just think with 25 people, there'd be someone like 7, 8 wins, maybe someone with 9, a couple with 9, a few. It was all 10s and 11s and a few 12s. It was obnoxious. Let me tell you something. One, first off, the number one rule in journalism, and I don't think you do this. Your brother definitely doesn't do it. Don't befriend the people you're covering. Sports is a little different because it's kind of a luxury thing. It's not like your brother doing investigative reporting. But I think the sports media, generally speaking, especially with the Saints and LSU, is befriend the team, don't alienate the fans, and then the third priority is, do some sports journalism. I think that's sort of the mentality of the average sports fan. I mean, I'm not like, your goal shouldn't be, hey, I'm going to rock the boat. That's ridiculous. But I'm going to insert nose up rear end is equally as ridiculous. And I think there's a lot of, especially young sports people that are just like, I'm a sports guy now. I'm going to go kiss some rear end. And I just, I don't know, maybe I'm in my 50s. I'm like, I'm an adult. I just want the real story. That's all. I think you do a great job. The reason I get you on every week, because you do a great job. You're a seasoned vet, a pro, and you're not scared to give opinions.
Well, I agree, and I like to thank you for the compliment. But I do agree that I certainly think, I wouldn't say the majority of people are like that, though, because I do think that it's one of those things, because I go back and forth with some of my friends about this. People romanticize other markets. Like, am I friendly with the people I cover? Of course, because it's an entertainment business.
Of course.
I mean, this isn't life and death, like you said. I mean, you cover real news. There's real news and real problems. At the end of the day, this is all entertainment and fun. So am I friends with these people? No. Am I friendly with them? 100%. Because it's like, why wouldn't I be friendly with somebody? Being adversarial look, there's been times where I've had to be adversarial, but it's not something that I think people, if I relished it, there would be something wrong with me. Just like if I relished, I only want to be friends with them. So I think I understand you have to have, some common ground of, I'm an unbiased person, but I think that sometimes the thing that irks me, like philosophically speaking here about like the media, is there's this romanticism. I'm friends with a guy named Bruce Beck, and he's a long time, like 30-year sports anchor in New York City. You can Google him. He's one of like the legends in New York as far as sportscasting goes. And he always laughs because he goes, I wish we were as tough as people thought we were. People romanticize New York and Philly and like these rough and tough markets. And I'm not saying they don't have amazing journalists there, but I think sometimes the smaller markets, it's easy for people. I had a friend and I told him, I go, dude, don't parrot that stuff. Because what I pointed out to him is this: Kyrie Irving, there were protesters every game this year from the Jewish community because of what he did. But it wasn't the media that ran Kyrie out of New York. It was Kyrie demanding a trade. Dallas is one of the biggest markets in the NFL. And Jerry Jones was at a picture from a civil rights situation decades ago. And I don't see Jerry Jones like getting scrutinized or raked over the coals by the Dallas media. So I think sometimes in the smaller market, and we're not a small market. Like, I mean, New Orleans is the biggest city in Louisiana, but we're small compared to New York, LA, Boston, Philadelphia, places like that. And I think sometimes media in smaller pro markets is, people default to, if this was Philly, and it's like, if you knew what you were talking about, you know that that's not true. So sometimes I think, the bigger markets, it's like, if this was New York, they'd be scrutinizing them. And it's like, not really. Like, I watch some of the stuff up there, and I don't see the media roasting these people or holding them to different standards than they do in New Orleans, Tampa, or Charlotte.
Well, I do have to admit I'm a little bit of a hypocrite. French Quarter Fest is coming up soon. I have been befriending Junket Cantrell. Want to be able to use that bathroom in the Pontalba, and that balcony view is tough to beat, Fletch. Plus, I want to lay down on the bed when I get tired during French Quarter Fest. So I'm a little bit of a hypocrite. I have been befriending Junket Cantrell, been hanging out at the Pontalba with her, doing some exercising with her and Vappy. I got to admit it.
Okay. I'm not sure how we pivoted to that, but sure.
I'm talking about not befriending people you're covering.
Oh, I got you.
I got to take advantage of that Pontalba, buddy. All right. No, I'm not going to the Pontalba and hanging out with Vappy and Junket Cantrell. That was a funny. I like the Vegas boys. I like the national television, your guys with Thursday night, Monday Night Football, Sunday night. They go where the money is. It's good to see who they're putting on. It's good to see what Vegas thinks. 9.5 seems about right, kind of right down the middle-ish, a little better than last year. I think the Saints have made some pretty good moves, and we've discussed it a little bit, the Derek Carr acquisition. Although I thought Andy Dalton did just fine. He'll probably start for Carolina and do just fine there. But we've mentioned it. The Raiders have had terrible, not mediocre, terrible, bottom, 6th of the NFL, bottom 5 on average. As the best defense they ever had was 23rd under 9 years of Carr. So with an actual defense, he'll probably be able to get something done. Fletch, we're going to take a quick break and come right back. Don't move, people.
For us, it's really relationships. And if you care about the relationship, you're going to do the right thing for the customer all the time. When we're in design process of a custom-made piece, I have a test that says, if I wouldn't give this to my wife, I think we should pass and start over. If it's not perfect, it's going back to the shop. We're going to start all the way over. My name is Ken Friend of Friend & Company Fine Jewelers. You've got a friend in the jewelry business.
There's a Middle Eastern restaurant that's less than 5 minutes from where Causeway and River Road meet, Lebanon's Cafe. Convenient to Old Metairie and Old Jefferson. Carrollton at Jeanette on the streetcar line, Lebanon's Cafe.
Hey guys, it's Frank Smith from LasVegasGambling.com with your weekend 5-star lock of the week. Lock of the week. Take the Lakers and the points over the Clippers. Sell the house, sell the boat, sell your children. Send grandma away and take the money. Put everything you've got on this 5-star selection. It's the Lakers over the Clippers. And we've also got a fantastic 5-star parlay as well. Call us now, 888-555-7777. It's Frank Smith, a.k.a. The Hammer, from LasVegasGambling.com. Do it now.
For game-changing innovation, look to the Latrim family of companies located in Harahan. Intralocks, a Latrim company, changed the game when they invented modular plastic conveyor belts over 40 years ago. These belts and innovative Intralocks technology are transforming movement in manufacturing facilities around the world. Intralocks is a dynamic global company now hiring in production, warehousing, shipping, and more. If you want to be part of our successful team, visit Latrim.com. That's LAITRAM.com.
The Woodhouse Day Spa, with 5 area locations: New Orleans, Metairie, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and now Mandeville. A day of relaxation is just moments away at the Woodhouse Day Spa. WoodhouseSpas.com.
River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. NoAC.com, your cool spot. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. NoAC.com, your cool spot.
The
the Lamarck Automotive Collision Center. It's open now. We fix cars and trucks. We do all makes and models. And it doesn't have to be a Ford or a Lincoln. It could be whatever you're driving. 32,000 square feet under roof. Now open at 3101 Williams Boulevard. It's all about you, the customer, getting the most for your dollar. I would say the most perfect collision center anyway. The Lamarck Automotive Collision Center, 3101 Williams Boulevard. Go check it out.
At Home Paint and Decorating, our paints are in it for the long haul. In fact, our top Benchmore exterior paints come with a lifetime warranty. Not 25 years, not 50 years, we mean forever. You heard right. At Helm Paint, our top exterior paints have a lifetime warranty against chipping, peeling, and flaking. They also are mildew resistant. Imagine painting your home one time and being done with it. Visit any one of our locations today and make that once-in-a-lifetime purchase. Paint that has a lifetime warranty. Helm Paint and Benjamin Moore. Let us steer you in the right direction.
In New Orleans, we don't eat to live. We live to eat.
More is better.
Scott Craig of Katie's.
That is our slogan. More is better at Katie's. It means more of everything. Not just more food, more smiles, more friendship, more love, more. When you do something, you have to do it right. You know, it's all about more, and it's all more of the good things.
Get more at Katie's Restaurant in Mid-City.
Greater New Orleans, a destination for learning. With 13 colleges and universities and a booming job market, Greater New Orleans is the ultimate destination for your higher education. Your path to the future begins in Greater New Orleans. Find out more at studynola.com.
Little did the boys know in Stuttgart, Germany, that the car they were building was for little 8-year-old Fletcher Mackel. Fletcher Mackel joins us. He drives a 1984 Mercedes-Benz diesel.
True, I do.
What do you even say to that kind of intro? Huh?
Just that it's true. I don't know. It's like a tank. It's holding. I'm not going anywhere fast, but I will always get there. So, yeah.
I don't want to use the initials for our mechanic because it just sounds negative, right? It just sounds like he's not a good mechanic. But we'll just say, I'll just use his first name. I went to Brian today and got an oil change. I think I drive an old Mercedes, a 2011. That's an insane newbie for you.
Yeah, 84. I bought it during the pandemic and, like, knock on wood, air works, heat works, sunroof works, windows, everything. So still works fine.
Yep, those diesel Mercedes run forever.
That's what I was told.
How many miles you got on that bad boy?
Huh?
How many miles do you have on that rig?
I want to say like over 300,000.
No. Have you applied for those badges from Mercedes?
I don't even know what you're talking about.
All right, I'll send you the info. When you go over, it's kilometers, but my old car, what is the badge? I think it's the first one you get is maybe 225,000 kilometers. I want to say it's like 150,000 miles. My old car, which I kept a little longer than I normally would, it qualified for one of these badges, but yours might qualify for two. I got the 150,000 mile badge. I think the next one's maybe 275 or 300,000 miles. I forget what the kilometers are. And they go on the front grille of your car.
I gotcha. Okay.
It's pretty cool.
I agree.
I've got my 150 one, which I never did put on my car. So Fletch, I'm going to give it to you as a gift, and you'll probably do like you did with that Weber barbecue pit. Stick it in your friggin' attic and never use it.
I did put that in the attic. So
isn't that unbelievable, people? I reach out, I give Fletcher a nice gift for him coming on the program on Fridays because we don't compensate him. It's the opposite. His mother writes me a check like she does to Channel 6 to put him on the air, help out my boy. And I give him a nice Weber barbecue grill. And Fletcher hadn't even opened the box. What kind of person is that?
Ungrateful.
Exactly. Glad you said it. You're not a big griller, I'm guessing.
I don't have like a lot of yard space.
Are you kidding me? I went through that little alleyway, which is not for a human being to go through.
Yeah, again, I don't have, over by the bayou, I don't have a lot of yard space. So I don't know if barbecuing in the house would be the safest thing.
I don't think so. Your house takes up about 95% of your lot.
It does indeed. Yeah.
You'd have to barbecue like in the front yard on the little strip that goes to the sidewalk, maybe on the sidewalk.
Correct. Yeah.
Anyway, ungrateful Fletch. All right, let's get into it. Real quick, we'll move on from the Saints. I was going to cover that a little bit down the road, but I think 9.5 over-under is pretty good with the Vegas boys, and it's one more than last year. And as I was going into the break, I think it's Derek Carr, I guess, an improvement over Jameis Winston and Andy Dalton at quarterback. I'll concede that, but I don't think it's some incredible improvement. Dalton was 9th, I think, in quarterback rating last year with 3 offensive linemen out. Like I said, he's going to do just fine in Carolina. He's not over the hill yet. But I think Carr's a slight improvement. I'll give you that, or give the world that. But the thing I was mentioning, Fletch, the Raiders' defense has been terrible for 9 years. Terrible. So with a decent defense, and hopefully the Saints can sustain that, and there's no reason you think they won't, because Dennis Allen is a defensive-oriented coach, I think that's a few more victories right there for Derek Carr.
Yeah, and look, I agree with Derek Carr. I think Derek Carr is significantly more talented than Andy Dalton. I think Andy Dalton is a good quarterback. And I think at this stage of his career, he's an elite backup quarterback. I mean, look, last year he was the backup. 3 straight years was a backup. He went, Cincinnati moved in a different direction, drafted Joe Burrow, and Andy Dalton went first to Dallas, then to Chicago, then to New Orleans, and he was a backup. And last year as the backup, he went 6-8 is the starting quarterback, which sounds about right if a backup's got to start. So I think Carolina would be okay. I like the coaching staff. I like some of the players in Carolina. Look, they're drafting a quarterback, and they may start that guy from day one. And Andy may just be the backup, but they don't have to start that player day one. But I think Carr is far more talented. Carr reminds me a lot more of Matthew Stafford in Detroit than he does Andy Dalton.
Boy, would that be nice? Go what he did with the Rams. That'd be nice if you get that out of Carr.
So Derek Carr, I think, from an ability standpoint, has more arm talent, can make more throws, is a better talent than Andy Dalton. Like, far more in line with the Stafford. And look, Detroit was a bad organization. They had terrible defenses and no run game when he was there. They didn't give him a lot of weapons. And yet he goes to L.A. and in year one they win the Super Bowl because he's got good pieces around him. And so I think that Derek Carr is more in line with what you just said. He is a top 10 quarterback in the NFL. I'm not going to try to make him out to be the MVP of the league. He's not Mahomes. He's not Burrow. He's probably not Jared Allen. But I would make an argument that at his high point, Derek Carr could be 5 or 6. And he's certainly no lower than 9 or 10, especially with the team he has around him now. So I think 9.5 is fair. And get ready, because I will be picking the over.
Yeah, I don't know about 9 or 10, but definitely I think top dozen or so. The upper third, at worst, the top of the second third. I'll give you that. So, no, it should make for an interesting Saints season. Hopefully they get some good draft picks, ideally, a player that can start on the D-line right away, something like that, an edge rusher that, ideally is some kind of a force that ends up being a great draft choice that contributes greatly, and the Saints easily could be on their way. Any other Saints thoughts before we move on?
No, I'm excited about the draft because I think you're right. I think tight end, look, I think Foster Moreau, kudos to the Saints doctors for finding, the cancer.
Yep.
And hopefully it's early and he makes a full recovery.
Yep.
But I do think that's a position they'll have to address because they were certainly on their way to signing him from what I was told.
Yep.
And that's a void now. I think, look, Adam Troutman still has potential. Jawan Johnson's a nice hybrid tight end receiver. And then you've got Taysom, who's same kind of deal, hybrid tight end receiver. I wouldn't be surprised if they went tight end at pick 29 or 40, the first or second round. I could see that easily.
All right, Fletch, LSU might win tonight, and then everything I'm saying is just, pointless. But I tell you, I'm a little bit concerned. Like, I honestly think if you ask some LSU fans who's LSU playing tonight, they almost don't know. I mean, in a way. It's all about Mulkey making the Final Four, the accelerated pace of the program, the Texas reunion, could be a rematch with South Carolina in the title game. It's like, hey, man, Virginia Tech is a junior and senior-laden team. They didn't make it to the Final Four by default. They're ready to roll, even though they're a 2 seed and LSU is a 3. And even though LSU is favored by a couple of points, I almost look at Virginia Tech as sort of forgotten, almost like the underdog. LSU's almost assuming they're going to win in a way. But again, we're talking about Mulkey, who is a veteran. She's going to say the right stuff in the locker room. What she's saying publicly may not be at all what she's saying behind the scenes to her team. But I'm a little concerned that LSU could be overlooking Virginia Tech.
Yeah, I don't know if they're overlooking them, but I certainly think everything you said, no one else should overlook them and be thinking, oh, the matchup with South Carolina, a rematch to get revenge after they thumped LSU earlier this year. Virginia Tech is really, really good.
Yep.
And you're absolutely right. This is a massive challenge for LSU. Again, we talked about Vegas. I do think it's interesting, though. Virginia Tech's the higher seed, but LSU is still favored in this game.
Yep,
which
by a couple.
A lot about how red hot they think LSU is and how good they think Mulkey is. I mean, that's why you hire a Kim Mulkey. Yes, to rebuild your program, to create fanfare and enthusiasm and large crowds. But she's a tournament coach, and she knows this is when you make your name, and she's done that for a long time. So I think it's going to be a great game, but I don't know how to pick it. I thought LSU, once they got past Utah, I thought Utah was their real test.
Yep.
And I thought if they get past Utah, they're going to take care of Villanova or Miami, and they did.
Yep.
I don't know if LSU gets to the national championship. I think they could.
Yep.
But Virginia Tech is legit.
No, we're in agreement on that. I think it's about a 50-50. I think either team could win tonight, and I'm not trying to ride the fence. Hey, Fletch, you're normally off on a Friday. You're not. You're at the station. Can you stick around for another segment to talk Pels? You do have to get ready for Sportscast.
I have to get ready for a sportscast. Is that okay? I apologize because Sharif is in Dallas at the Final Four. Check us out at 5:00. I'm doing, Pelicans big win last night, so I am on the air at 5. So I do apologize.
No, go do your thing. We'll talk Pels next week.
All right, thank you, Mark.
That's Fletcher Mackel joining us on the program. Another edition of Fridays with Fletch. Check him out tonight. Normally Fridays is off day, but as he said, Sharif Ishak is in Dallas covering LSU Virginia Tech. By the way, that game tips off in an hour and 15 minutes on ESPN.
Greater New Orleans, a destination for learning. With 13 colleges and universities and a booming job market, Greater New Orleans is the ultimate destination for your higher education. Your path to the future begins in Greater New Orleans. Find out more at studynola.com.
At Helm Paint, we go the extra mile with free delivery anywhere in the metro area. In the middle of a job and short on paint? Call us and we'll come to you.
Short on time? Call in your order and pick it up in the drive-thru at our Earhart Boulevard location.
Helm Paint and Benjamin Moore. Let us steer you in the right direction.
Rouse's Market is hiring. With 65 stores, full or part-time employment, and flexible scheduling, Rouse's has a job for you, or maybe even a career. Apply at any Rouse's store or online at rouses.com.
The Port of New Orleans is the gateway to global commerce, the economic engine that moves Louisiana and our country forward. For more than 125 years, Port Nola has continued to deliver the goods we use each and every day by river, rail, and by road. No matter what, it all happens right here, delivering Louisiana's future at the Port of New Orleans, your working river. Learn more about your Port of New Orleans. Visit portnola.com.
If you love Katie's Restaurant in Mid-City, you're going to love Bienvenue in Harahan. The same folks bringing a little of that New Orleans flavor to Hickory Avenue. If you love Katie's, come to Bienvenue on Hickory Avenue in Harahan.
It's time to relax. The Woodhouse Day Spa, Metro New Orleans' premier day spa experience, now with 5 area locations. For a day of relaxation or maybe just a quick 1-hour getaway, the Metro area's premier day spa experience is at the Woodhouse Day Spa. And now 5 area locations: New Orleans, Metairie, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and our newest location in Mandeville. The Woodhouse Day Spa, woodhousespas.com.
Being a part of people's lives, from an engagement ring to a wedding band. Before you know it, the wedding day is here and groom and bride are exchanging gifts on that day. And not too long after that, there's baby gifts to have. And I just enjoy being part of other people's family, saying, Mr. Friend did my engagement ring and he did my mom and dad's engagement ring. My name is Ken Friend of Friend & Company Fine Jewelers. You've got a friend in the jewelry business.
Fausto's Italian Bistro on Veterans Boulevard, where the brothers Fausto and Roland are serving some of the city's finest Sicilian and Italian cuisine. From New Orleans' first family of Sicilian and Italian cooking, Fausto's Italian Bistro on Vets.
Ladies and gentlemen, in this Lamar Automotive Complex, there's something called Quick Lane. Tires, wheel alignments, struts, servicing your transmission. We're doing all makes and models. It doesn't have to have been purchased from us. It's for you. It handles your lifestyle with your budget in mind. And we want to get you in and out as quick as possible. Quick Lane, you got to come see it. You're going to love the experience. Right there at Williams Boulevard in Kenner.
For game-changing innovation, look to the Lakefront family of companies located in Harahan. Intralocks, a Lakefront company, changed the game when they invented modular plastic conveyor belts over 40 years ago. These belts and innovative Intralocks technology are transforming movement in manufacturing facilities around the world. Intralocks is a dynamic global company now hiring in production, warehousing, shipping, and more. If you want to be part of our successful team, visit Laitram.com. That's LAITRAM.com.
Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com. Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com.
Trey Yen in Mandeville, a New Orleans tradition for over 40 years, serving the finest Louisiana-inspired Chinese cuisine. Open Tuesday through Sunday. Trey Yen. Yeah, you right. Corey Johnson back at you. Let's see, Jason. That sounds like George Porter. And the running pod does. I often walk my dogs in my neighborhood, and there'll be George Porter right there. I'm like, hey, man, how you doing? All right, man, how are you? Good. And then I walk, and he goes inside the house, and then I say out loud, where if other neighbors are outside, they're like, that dude's talking to his dogs. I say, hey, fellas, not very often you walk by someone that is as good at what he does for a living, what he does in his life, as good as anyone on the planet, nearly 8 billion people. And when it comes to playing the bass guitar, George Porter's as good as anyone. Like an astronaut, one of the best at what he does. So no, it's not that frequent. It doesn't happen that often that you walk by someone that is the best at what they do in the world. But with George Porter, that happens every now and then with my pups. It is a Fantasy Friday edition of the program. Yeah, you right. Corey Johnson with you. Last night, I went and sat outside white tablecloths at Fausto's on Vets. Got some veal piccata, got a little fettuccine Alfredo, some of that hot bread to start. The salad with the Italian dressing, homemade Italian dressing. Fausto's Italian Bistro opens for dinner in 5 minutes. And when the weather's like this, you too can enjoy outdoor dining under the candlelight. Yep, pretty nice. Under the awning, under the little rooftop. Outdoor dining, white tablecloths, Fausto's Italian Bistro. It's Lent. You can get one of the great fish dishes, lots of great seafood dishes. You can definitely eat great, have a fantastic, tasty meal, and recognize Lent. Don't break those Lenten rules, you Catholics. Fausto's Italian Bistro opens for dinner in 5 minutes, and because it's Friday, they go for 5 big hours. Monday through Thursday, 5 to 9. Friday and Saturday night, dinner served 5 to 10 p.m. Yeah, and enjoy outdoor dining with this weather at Fausto's Italian Bistro. You don't like dining outside? Indoors, climate-controlled dining room, and you can even sit at the bar and check out LSU on the screen, on the TV. The Tigers take it on Virginia Tech in about an hour and 5 minutes on ESPN. It'll be on the TV at the bar at Fausto's Italian Bistro. Some of the city's best Sicilian and Italian. Yeah, and Lent-friendly for sure. Fausto's Italian Bistro. Outdoor dining is what I recommend. Yeah, I'm going to have to figure out where I'm going tonight for dinner. And ideally, they have outdoor dining because the weather is nice. And we're on the brink, the cusp. We're close to that hot, humid summertime coming where you don't want to do a whole lot outside, where dining outside even at night might be a little prohibitive. You know, but nothing better like when it's June, July, August, just oppressive summer heat, and we get that threat of rain, but it doesn't rain. You've got the light, thin clouds. The breeze is blowing. It probably feels like 70s instead of 80s or 90s. The humidity might still be there, but it's moving with the wind. You can dine outside. Those are great kind of relief days during the dog days of summer when you get that threat of rain, yet it doesn't rain. Anyway, yeah, we're right on the brink. Hey, speaking of good weather and outdoors, Hogs for the Cause going on tonight, going on all day tomorrow into tomorrow night over by the UNO Lakefront Arena, basically Franklin Avenue at Lakeshore Drive, Franklin Avenue, Leon C. Simon. Boy, UNO was very smart when they built that campus. They were worried about the legislature, lawmakers taking away the campus. They knew it was going to take decades to build something like they have today, a modern college, a modern university campus. I think they were granted money for 4 original buildings, if I'm not mistaken. And instead of clustering those 4 buildings together and building out from there, no, they were worried about campus land being, repossessed, confiscated by the legislature. So they built, I guess, Bienville Hall, which has been torn down, if I'm not mistaken, kind of on one point of the campus. They built the Health and PE building, the old gym over there by Leon C. Simon and Elysian Fields. And then they built the Liberal Arts building way over by the lake, kind of a triangulation of fire, like to take up as much of the footprint as they could. And then the 4th building, they put it on Franklin and Leon C. Simon, where the arena is, the tennis courts, maybe a future football stadium, the baseball, Benson Field. They put that one building on the corner of Elysian Fields, Leon C. Simon and Franklin, way over on the, quote, East Campus to guarantee that footprint remains part of UNO. So very savvy, very smart, very forward thinking to ensure their campus wouldn't get shrunk. Fantasy Friday edition of the program. Don't go anywhere. The 5 o'clock power hour is coming your way. Frank Brigtsen from Brigtsen's Restaurant. We're going to talk some food on a Friday in about 20 minutes. Find out what's cooking at Brigtsen's. Find out what's cooking all over New Orleans. It's crawfish season. Rouse's takes care of you during crawfish season. Live crawfish by the sack. Bring them home. Boil them yourself. Or hot from the pot crawfish ready to eat. And it's Rouse's. They know how to boil crawfish. Yeah, your crawfish headquarters, your friendly neighborhood Rouse's Market, taking care of you during crawfish season. Rouse's Market. 5 o'clock powwow coming your way right now, Blue Boy.
You're on the neutral ground with Corey Johnson on TV on Cox Channel 4 and Spectrum Channel 333. Also on YouTube, on radio at NOLA Talk 93.9 FM, WSLA New Orleans.
Hi, it's Ken Friend from Friend & Company Fine Jewelers. You've got a friend in the jewelry business. Come see us over on Maple Street in Uptown.
Friend & Company Fine Jewelers, Breitling time, 5 p.m.
For game-changing innovation, look to the Lakefront family of companies located in Harahan. Intralocks, a Lakefront company, changed the game when they invented modular plastic conveyor belts over 40 years ago. These belts and innovative Intralocks technology are transforming movement in manufacturing facilities around the world. Intralocks is a dynamic global company now hiring in production, warehousing, shipping, and more. If you want to be part of our successful team, visit Laitram.com. That's LAITRAM.com.
Young's Dry Cleaning, with 2 walk-up locations with personal service. Young's on Claiborne and Young's on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview. Young's Dry Cleaning. Call 288-8381 or online at youngsdrycleaning.com.
Rouse's, New Orleans grocery store. Rouse's has the only full-service grocery stores both in the French Quarter on Royal Street and in the CBD on Baronne in the old Sewell Cadillac building. The Rouse's on the river, Tchoupitoulas at Napoleon, is in a century-old warehouse. And uptown on Ferret at the corner of Valence is Rouse's all-new boutique store. With 7 locations in Orleans Parish, Rouse's is New Orleans grocery store. Rouse's Markets. Taste like home. Here's New Orleans native son, Corey Johnson.
New Orleans City Councilman Freddie King joins us.
So I want to first say thanks for having me. And believe it or not, man, I used to listen to your show all the time driving home. So it's an honor to be on.
Freddie, I really appreciate that. Thank you so much. It's an honor to have you on the program. Thanks.
The official afternoon talk show of the city of New Orleans. It's Corey Johnson on the neutral ground, where New Orleans is heard.
The Port of New Orleans is the gateway to global commerce, the economic engine that moves Louisiana and our country forward. For more than 125 years, Port Nola has continued to deliver the goods we use each and every day, by river, rail, and by road. No matter what, it all happens right here, delivering Louisiana's future at the Port of New Orleans, your working river. Learn more about your Port of New Orleans. Visit portnola.com.
From the owners of Katie's in Mid-City and Bienvenue in Harahan, an old school deli with over a dozen specialty sandwiches. Francesca Deli and Pizzeria on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview between Canal Boulevard and West End. Francesca Deli and Pizzeria.
Hi, this is Joey Helm. My dad, Bunky Helm, had a vision of a locally family-owned store serving the residential and commercial paint needs of New Orleans. I think Dad would be proud of today's Helm Paint and Decorating, and here's why. We have the best technical staff in the business, providing the best color matching service in Southeast Louisiana. Perfect matching for any color and any brand. And we'll save your colors so you don't have to save those old cans. Helm Paint offers free 2-hour delivery. Our in-store decorators will assist you on deciding what color and type of paint to best showcase your home. But most importantly, as your local independent Benjamin Moore dealer, our products provide the greatest value in the paint industry. Superior coverage, and Benjamin Moore paint simply covers better and lasts longer. New Orleans is a city of vibrant color, and no one else provides the paints of New Orleans like Helm Paint and Decorating. Visit any of our 6 locations or online at helmpaint.com.
Helm Paint, let us do you right. Helm Paint and Supply.
Here's New Orleans native son, Corey Johnson.
Native son, great New Orleanian. No, that's me.
In Metro New Orleans on 93.9 FM and 107.9 FM.
New Orleans native son. No, that's me. That's me, lady.
The Lamarck Automotive Collision Center. It's open now. We fix cars and trucks. We do all makes and models. And it doesn't have to be a Ford or a Lincoln. It could be whatever you're driving. 32,000 square feet under roof. Now open at 3101 Williams Boulevard. It's all about you, the customer, getting the most for your dollar. I would say the most perfect collision center anyway. The Lamarck Automotive Collision Center, 3101 Williams Boulevard. Go check it out.
being a part of people's lives, from an engagement ring to a wedding band. Before you know it, the wedding day is here, and groom and bride are exchanging gifts on that day. And not too long after that, there's baby gifts to have. And I just enjoy being part of other people's family, saying, Mr. Friend did my engagement ring, and he did my mom and dad's engagement ring. My name is Ken Friend of Friend & Company Fine Jewelers. You've got a friend in the jewelry business.
River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. NoAC.com, your cool spot. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. NoAC.com, your cool spot. Sunday, Monday, happy days. Tuesday, Wednesday, happy days. Thursday, Friday, happy days. The weekend comes, my cycle hops.
It's Donnie Most, a.k.a. Ralph Mouth. It's Happy Days. In tonight's episode, because of lagging ratings, Henry Winkler, a.k.a. Fonzie, will jump the shark on water skis while wearing his leather jacket. Later in television lore, this will be known as jumping the shark to boost ratings. Yeah, you right. Corey Johnson back at you. A Fantasy Friday edition of the program. Holy smokes. It's a little bit after 5 p.m. on a Fantasy Friday. That's tough to beat. Tough to beat. Hey, the 5 o'clock powwow on this Friday brought to you by Katie's in Mid-City. Why aren't you at Katie's in Mid-City right now? What a great wind down the day, wind down the week spot. Lunch and dinner, open throughout the day, 7 days a week in Mid-City. It's tough to beat the quintessential New Orleans neighborhood restaurant. It's tough to beat Katie's. Hey, you folks out in River Ridge, Elmwood, Old Jefferson, Harahan, right there on the curve on Hickory Avenue, Bienvenue, the Katie's of Harahan. Yeah, bringing a little of that Mid-City's Katie's flavor to that area of the city. River Ridge, Elmwood, Old Jefferson, Harahan. Don't forget about Bienvenue on Hickory Avenue. And yet another Scott Craig wonderful place, Francesca Deli and Pizzeria in Lakeview. About 15 different specialty sandwiches, deli sandwiches to choose from, or build your own sandwich. Pick the bread, pick the meats, pick the dressing, pick the cheese, pick the extras. Make your own or choose from one of their 15 or so specialty sandwiches. It's Francesca Deli and Pizzeria on Harrison Avenue in between Canal Boulevard and West End in Lakeview. And yeah, they deliver. Francesca Deli and Pizzeria. Bienvenue, the Katie's of Harahan and Katie's in Mid-City. Yeah, you right. 5 o'clock power hour on this Fantasy Friday brought to you by Katie's in Mid-City. Gotta like that. Yeah, it is a Fantasy Friday edition of the program. I'd say for like the next week to 10 days, 70s and 80s. I don't see any Coolio front on the horizon. Could have some rain here or there, but we're supposed to have some pretty good rain, today into tomorrow, and now that looks like that's faded away, thank goodness. Good news for you folks out by the lakefront or heading in that direction. Hogs for the Cause going on as we speak, going into the night. Tomorrow they crank it up, go all day, and into Saturday night. Hogs for the Cause out by the UNO Lakefront Arena, essentially Franklin Avenue at Leon C. Simon, Franklin Avenue at Lakeshore Drive, right behind the UNO Lakefront Arena, the Nat Kiefer Lakefront Arena. Hogs for the Cause tonight, tomorrow night. Yeah, you right. Yet another festival going on in the festival city of the world, the parade city of the world, the food and music city of the world. Wonderful New Orleans. Yeah, you right. Boy, we've got a full slate. If you missed the 4 o'clock hour, Fletcher Mackel joined us for about 30 minutes. Coming up in less than an hour on ESPN nationwide, LSU, Virginia Tech, ladies Final Four from Dallas. I'm a little bit nervous. I think this is a toss-up game. Either team could win. I think this is going to be like LSU, Utah. Back and forth, tight game the entire time. But I'm a little worried because, look, Kim Mulkey's a veteran coach. I think she knows the exact right buttons to push in this situation. But a lot of the news media, I think the fans, it's been a lot about LSU in the Final Four, Kim Mulkey, the Texas reunion, kind of going back home. She was an hour and a half away in Waco for 20-plus years. The quick success of the LSU women's program. You win, you go to the national title game, most likely against South Carolina, all SEC, on and on and on. The outfits, all that. And it's like, Virginia Tech? What about Virginia Tech? A lot of juniors and seniors on that Virginia Tech team, they didn't make it to the Final Four by default. They're a 2 seed. LSU is a 3 seed. Seedings are right, seedings are wrong, whatever, but that's the national perception. LSU favored by 2, not 5, not 11. I mean, I think against Miami, LSU was like favored between 9 and 11 points. They're favored by 2, a single basket. A rebound here or there, an assist here or there. I think this is going to be a ridiculously tight game. I think it is a 50-50. Either team could win. And I'm hoping LSU is focused and not thinking about the Final Four and Mulkey and the quick rise of the LSU program and the Texas reunion and, Bayou Barbie and the national title game potentially against South Carolina and the SEC and all that. And I hope it's more Virginia Tech, the Hokies, Virginia Tech. So we'll see. Final Four from Dallas. Tip-off's a little bit after 6, about 55 minutes away on ESPN. Yeah, you right. After that, it'll be Iowa with that insane sharpshooter like Steph Curry, bombs it from all over the court. This 6-foot point guard who not only is a field general on the floor like Kim Mulkey was at La Tech, Mulkey's 5'4". I was watching some video of her in La Tech with the short sleeve, light blue shirts, just an assist machine. No, this point guard for Iowa can bomb it anywhere between the half-court circle and top of the key. NBA three-point shots. You'll see him tonight a little bit after 8 when Iowa takes on number 1 undefeated Dawn Staley's South Carolina. Women's Final Four getting more attention this year probably in the history of the game. Some of the Final Four tickets for the ladies were selling for more than the Final Four tickets for the men, which is going on across the state over in Houston. Fantasy Friday. Hey, it is a little bit after 5 o'clock. We like putting the spotlight on this very time of the week. Kind of 100% of the work week in the books for most of us, 100% of the weekend smack dab in front of you. This like limbo period. I like smelling the roses. And that's why we blow the 5 o'clock whistle. You got the lunch pail under one arm, the hard hat under the other. You're leaving the plant. You're leaving the manufacturing facility. They're blowing the 5 o'clock whistle. Yeah, you right. Corey Johnson with you on a Fantasy Friday edition of the program. Like I said, Frank Brigtsen to join us in about 5 minutes from his restaurant on Dante Street right off River Road, a.k.a. Leak Avenue, the Riverbend section of New Orleans, the Carrollton neighborhood of Uptown. Frank Brigtsen, just a James Beard award-winning chef, as good as it gets literally in this country, in the world, and just insanely humble, super friendly, just a real class act. So glad to have him every Friday at 5:20 on the neutral ground. Frank Brigtsen just a few moments away. Yesterday, I was talking about transgender females because Kim Mulkey was asked about it. Transgender females maybe playing ladies' college hoops. This one is just real easy. It doesn't take a lot of thought or, oh boy, this is such a dilemma. What do we do? What do we do? It's easy. The solution is so simple. Transgender men, welcome to play men's sports on the college level, the Olympic level, the professional level. I mean, I look at a female. If they can play with men at a competitive level, I love it. It's like the underdog thing. A transgender man, born physically female, playing with men, fantastic. Love it. Transgender females should not, I repeat, should not, N-O-T, no, should not be playing competitive sports with females at the college, Olympic, or professional level. There is an unfair physical advantage. I'm pro-transgender. Someone out there is born physically female, mentally is a man. Someone born physically male, mentally female. I think it's brave, courageous that you're going to go after that. This is what I feel. This makes me comfortable. I want to be this. I'm all for that. Why would I be opposed to that? Why would I be opposed to that? This is America. I want everyone to do what they like to do. As long as you're not breaking the law or some kind of code like that, I got no problem with it. And sometimes the law is even wrong. But a transgender female, physically born as a male, has a physical advantage over other females. That's obvious. You can have as many hormones as you like.
1970 was an exciting time in New Orleans. The first Jazz Fest was held, the city hosted its first Super Bowl, and the first Helm Paint location opened on Earhart Boulevard. While the floppy disks, mood rings, and pet rocks may have come and gone since the 70s, Helm Paint has grown to become your premier source for quality Benjamin Moore products, competitive pricing, and personal service. Please visit one of our locations today and we'll meet our competitors' prices on any identical product. Helm Paint and Benjamin Moore, let us steer you in the right direction.
Helm Paint and Supply.
Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com. Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com.
Fausto's Italian Bistro on Vets has daily lunch specials Monday through Friday, and their entire lunch menu is available too. Open 11 a.m. through 2:30 p.m. For the finest in Sicilian and Italian cuisine, Fausto's Italian Bistro on Vets.
For game-changing innovation, look to the Lakefront family of companies located in Harahan. Intralocks, a Lakefront company, changed the game when they invented modular plastic conveyor belts over 40 years ago. These belts and innovative Intralocks technology are transforming movement in manufacturing facilities around the world. Intralocks is a dynamic global company now hiring in production, warehousing, shipping, and more. If you want to be part of our successful team, visit Latram.com. That's LAITRAM.com.
Greater New Orleans, a destination for learning. With 13 colleges and universities and a booming job market, Greater New Orleans is the ultimate destination for your higher education. Your path to the future begins in Greater New Orleans. Find out more at studynola.com.
For us, it's really relationships. And if you care about the relationship, you're going to do the right thing for the customer all the time. When we're in design process of a custom-made piece, I have a test that says if I wouldn't give this to my wife, I think we should pass and start over. If it's not perfect, it's going back to the shop. We're going to start all the way over. My name is Ken Friend of Friend & Company Fine Jewelers. You've got a friend in the jewelry business.
When USA Today ranked the 10 best must-visit New Orleans restaurants for travelers, Mid-City's own Katie's made the list. USA Today says Scott Craig is chef-owner at Katie's, a much-loved Creole Italian eatery that draws armies of regulars for lunch, brunch, and dinner. A neighborhood spot where locals congregate and New Orleans-style hospitality rules. Indeed it does. Katie's in Mid-City.
The Woodhouse Day Spa, with 5 area locations: New Orleans, Metairie, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and now Mandeville. A day of relaxation is just moments away at the Woodhouse Day Spa. WoodhouseSpas.com.
Young's Dry Cleaning, with 2 walk-up locations with personal service. Young's on Claiborne and Young's on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview. Young's Dry Cleaning. Call 288-8381 or online at youngsdrycleaning.com. For over 20 years, serving healthy, fresh, authentic Middle Eastern cuisine, Lebanon's Cafe. In the Carrollton section of Uptown on the streetcar line. Wednesday through Monday, 11 a.m. to 9:30. Lebanon's Cafe.
River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. NoAC.com, your cool spot. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. NoAC.com, your cool spot.
Rouse's Market is hiring. With 65 stores, full or part-time employment, and flexible scheduling, Rouse's has a job for you, or maybe even a career. Apply at any Rouse's store or online at rouses.com.
I got a little paint project at my house. I was over at the Earhart location, the flagship store of Helm Paint and Decorating, talking with Joey Helm and Ronnie Helm just this morning. They open up early. They stay open late. 7 locations in Metro New Orleans, East Bank, West Bank, North Shore, plus free 2-hour delivery wherever you're working. Yeah, they'll bring it to you. You can pick your Benjamin Moore colors, get all your supplies that you need, and they'll bring them to you. Helm Paint and Decorating. Yeah, when you got to paint in Metro New Orleans, do it once, do it right. They truly will steer you in the right direction. Helm Paint and Decorating. No, I love those guys. As a native New Orleanian, they've been around for over 50 years. Why would I go anywhere else? It is a Fantasy Friday edition of the program. A little bit after 5:20, you know what that means. We head to Dante Street, right off River Road, Leake Avenue, the Riverbend section of New Orleans, the Carrollton section of Uptown. Frank Brigtsen joins us again on the program. What you say, Frank?
Where you at, Corey? What's up, Cap?
I never understood between the A and the T. Where you at? What's that mean between the A and the T?
Who knows?
I know what you know. A lot of good seasonal stuff going on right now in New Orleans and South Louisiana, including crawfish. Yummy.
Oh, yeah. We're in the peak of crawfish season right now, Corey. This is going to be our last week for our delicious and popular crawfish and corn soup. Next week is Holy Week. And for us at Brigtsen's, that means crawfish bisque. We'll have crawfish bisque every day next week. That's our annual tradition.
Let me ask you, what's the difference between a crawfish, corn, and crab soup and a bisque?
Well, the main difference between a soup and a bisque is that the bisque is pureed. If you think of lobster bisque, which is a creamy puree, that's actually, there's not even any lobster meat in there, really. That's made with by cooking down the lobster shells, flambeing them with brandy, and you actually add some cooked rice to thicken it. And then you put the whole mixture through a food mill, which extracts all the solids and leaves you with a rich, flavorful puree.
And not a broth, but a puree.
Yes, exactly right.
And then if I added crawfish to that bisque, it becomes a soup?
Well, that's a technicality. I still call it crawfish bisque because people know what to expect. We do add freshly sauteed crawfish tails to our bisque, along with a little bit of rice and also some crawfish boulettes, which is little balls of crawfish dressing that are deep fried and add as a garnish,
wow,
as opposed to stuffing the heads.
Wow.
Stuffing the heads is what, is traditional, and I love that. But by doing it our way, it's less prep and much easier to eat.
Now,
Same flavor.
Frank, you guys don't buy the fresh crawfish in those 1 pound bags, which would be great. But you guys boil the crawfish yourself. How do you go about doing that? What's your technique?
Well, we do buy crawfish tails, peel crawfish tails. I've been buying from the same company for 40 plus years. It's the best crawfish, I think, on the market, and it's called Fleur de Lis. And since crawfish is at their peak right now and the prices have stabilized and come down a little bit, you probably see them in your grocery store. I know Bromart carries them yearly once the price gets down a little bit. So look for Fleur de Lis. That's a great brand. But above all, be sure you're buying domestic Louisiana crawfish tails.
Yep. Yeah, or just don't buy them. I mean, it's sad. You'll go in the grocery and they have 90% will be from China and 10% will be from, the Louisiana, and it'll be like, $15.95 a pound, $12.95 a pound for the Louisiana tails, and like $5 for the Chinese tails. All I can say is you get exactly what you pay for.
That's right. If the price looks too good to be true, it is too good to be true. And there are a couple of brands, that are a little deceptive. They'll have a Louisiana sounding name, but it's actually Chinese crawfish.
No, it's sinful. I actually talked to.
Just be smart.
Yep, I talked to Pat Connick on the West Bank saying a sticker needs to be on all seafood sold in Louisiana that says state or country of origin if it's outside of Louisiana, and the font size of that sticker needs to be equal to the largest font size on there. So when it says Bernard's and it comes from China, it needs to have product of China, a big sticker on that packaging. That's my thought.
I agree with that. I think it's just safe practice and fair practice.
No, because they're trying to fool you. They're trying to fool you.
But we do boil our own crawfish weekly, once or twice a week, and we use those, seasoned boiled crawfish just like you normally would. And we use that for garnishing, but also to make stock for our soups. So for the crawfish and corn soup and for the crawfish bisque, we take seasoned boiled crawfish and crush them with a meat mallet and add cold water and make a seasoned crawfish stock. So you get the flavor of the backyard crawfish boil in your cup of soup.
But you don't peel them and take out the tail?
We don't.
Gotcha. How do you go about boiling those crawfish? Because I bet they're pretty darn good just like that. I'm sure some of your employees are cheating and eating some of those.
They absolutely are, and we do eat them. We boil more than we need. So on Saturdays, for instance, staff members will go home with a few pounds of crawfish for the weekend. We're always tasting them, of course. We pick out the larger ones for garnish, and the smaller ones are for stock or tasting. But I use a recipe that I've had since the beginning, 40 years. And I use Rex crab boil is what I like. Onions, celery, garlic as normal, lemons, of course, and a couple of oranges. Not too much, but a couple of oranges to give it another dimension of flavor. And of course, the key with boiling seafood is timing. Crawfish, once they go into the hot boiling liquid, you bring it back to the boil, and they boil for 3 to 4 minutes, depending on the size and the hardness of the shell. And of course, then comes the soaking. They don't pick up the seasoning until they soak. And for us, it's about 30 minutes, the longest 30 minutes in history.
I bet. Yeah, because you're smelling that and you want to eat them.
Right.
Liquid Rex or the powdered version?
It's a powdered version. This is something that's not available in the groceries, Corey. It's an unsalted crab boil powder that I get special from Rex. I buy 100 pounds at a time. I have to go to some obscure warehouse to pick it up, but It's what I like. There's other good brands too. What I like about the Rex is that it has complexity of flavor. It's just not one thing. It's not just cayenne or something like that. It's got full blown flavor. And the the spices you find in a crab bowl like this are, it's similar to a pickling mix. Mustard seed, coriander seed, bay leaf, thyme, cayenne, and this one also has fenugreek, I believe. I don't know that for a fact, but I believe it has some fenugreek, which is the key spice in curry powder. And what it does is it gives flavor, of course, but it adds a little softness to the boil, which I really, really like. And we also add, one more thing is celery seeds.
Wow.
I love celery seeds in a crawfish boil.
Nice. What fruit and vegetables again?
Lemons and oranges, onion, celery, whole garlics cut in half.
Now, is it okay to add potatoes and corn to that mix?
Of course. We had a crawfish boil at our house a couple of Sundays ago for our staff. And one of my staff members is totally vegetarian. Actually is from Connecticut. So I said, have you ever tasted like a crawfish boil, anything like that? She said, no. I said, well, I'm gonna hook you up. So in a smaller pot in my kitchen at home, I made a vegetarian boil for her. And it had potatoes and corn, of course, but I added sweet potatoes, mirlitons, artichokes.
Wow.
I forget what else. Cauliflower.
Nice.
And with that, it's a little tricky, and I want to do it again because I kind of screwed up the timing. I got sidetracked and overcooked everything. But each vegetable is a different cook time, so you got to get those little mesh bags.
Yeah, no, I was going to mention that. A buddy of mine uses the mesh bag to stick all that stuff in, and it really works out well. You don't have to worry about potatoes getting all beat up, and everything sort of stays whole, and it's a really good gimmick.
It is. It gives you a lot more control, and I get them at the Ace Hardware. They have smaller ones and bigger ones, and she was blown away. She never had anything like it, and loved it. So you can be creative with it. You know, I do like sweet potatoes in there, and the mirliton was outstanding. It's like a pickled mirliton.
Do you have to pre-boil a artichoke for about 10 or 15 minutes before you put it in the boil, or is it enough time to cook in the boil?
No. They do take the longest to cook. That and the potatoes take about 30 to 35 minutes to boil, so those went in first.
Got you. Put those in first.
I just kind of added everything as I thought.
So it's a rolling boil, and the potatoes and the artichoke are already put in there.
Yeah, they go first.
No, that's smart. That's smart. Frank Brigtsen's with us. Hey, Frank, what's on the menu? If someone's walking in there tonight and they're ready to eat at Brigtsen's, take us through a meal for a single person. What would you do? What would you recommend?
What I would do if I was eating at Brigtsen's tonight, I'd get a cup of crawfish and corn soup. I'd get a Caesar salad with marinated white anchovies. And I think I would go... Well, it is Friday in Lent. I was going to say the roast duck à l'orange with dirty rice. But we did get fresh flounder in today, first time this week. So you could get the pan-fried flounder fillet with roasted pecans and Meunier sauce. Or our chicken seafood platter. Man, it is unlike anything you've ever had before. We all love seafood platters, but this one is totally different. There's nothing fried on it. It's grilled redfish with crawfish and pistachio lime sauce, freshly baked crawfish cornbread with smoked corn butter, a scallop on the half shell baked with herb scent creamed spinach, and jalapeno shrimp coleslaw, and a baked oyster Larousse on the half shell with shrimp and crab meat.
Jeez,
that's a meal. It's like John Boutique called it a seafood Thanksgiving, man.
That might be a good appetizer gimmick if it's like a table of four.
Absolutely right. I think it's a great way to start the meal, especially if you're first time to New Orleans. This will be a tremendous introduction.
No, that's the flavor of the city.
How creative Creole cuisine can be. It's forward thinking, I believe, but it's also rooted in classic Creole cooking.
Now, I guess you could top it all off with that pecan pie with the caramel sauce, but you might have another suggestion or two.
Yeah, I mean, the pecan pie is always a winner. Yeah. Personally, I lean towards the lemon icebox blueberry creme brulee.
Jeez.
I love lemony custard desserts to finish a meal, and that one is just right. Not heavy, but full of flavor and very satisfying.
We missing anything, Frank?
That's about it. I would also mention we have a tremendous cocktail program featuring locally made spirits. We use 20 different locally made distilled spirits, rums, vodkas, all kinds of things. And our mixologist, Carrie, is brilliant. We also have 2 great non-alcoholic mocktails, one called Smart Choices and one called Great Decisions. So whatever you want, we got it covered.
And for the non-Lenten folks, chicken, pork chop, filet.
Yeah, we got the meat and potatoes, man. Pan roasted pork chop with mashed potatoes and pork de brie sauce, which is like the richest, best pork gravy you've ever had. And the roast duck à l'orange with dirty rice. There's something about that dirty rice and that orange sauce that is so, so good. The staff snacks on that a lot.
Hey, Frank, any openings tonight or tomorrow night?
I think we might have a crack tomorrow night. Give Marna a call. She's on the phone tonight. And make plans for next week. Come see us during the week or on the weekend and get some crawfish bisque. This is the one time of the year that it's available, and I think you'll enjoy that.
You guys roll Tuesday through Saturday night, 5 to 8:30 roughly?
That's correct.
861-7610 is the phone number. 861-7610. They do to-go orders. You can check out the to-go menu or order off the regular menu at Brigtsens.com. Frank, always a pleasure, brother.
Thank you, my friend. Love you, Corey. Love you, New Orleans. Have a wonderful weekend. Eat some good food and have fun.
I might get a to-go order from your place tonight.
Let's do it.
That's Frank Brigtsen. Thanks again, Frank. Brigtsens.com is the website. Brigtsen spelled Brigtsens, like Brig T Sens. Brig T Sens. Brigtsens, Brightsens.com. The to-go menu is just what they recommend. It travels well. But if you're not going very far, you just order off the regular menu. And some of the things on the to-go menu, like that pork chop with the debris sauce, heats up well later. You know, you can nuke it or put it in a little tinfoil bag and stick it in the oven. You're not going to overcook it. Just absolutely fantastic. When he said the fresh flounder, the pecan meuniere, I'm like, I might have to do that for dinner. And then maybe get a cup of that corn and crab soup and get the appetizer of the barbecue shrimp. Corey, don't stop. Get the pecan pie too. I could eat the pecan pie crust alone. It's that good. Buttery and crispy and light. Just fantastic. Brigtsen's is so good. This chocolate cake they have for dessert, it's just so moist. It's heavy, like not heavy to eat, but just like it's moist and just solid and just absolutely incredible. Good for sharing, too. It's a pretty big piece of chocolate cake. Brigtsen's is fantastic. Corey Johnson with you on a Fantasy Friday edition of the program. Yeah, you're right. Hey, on radio every day, on television every day, YouTube, live streaming, CoreyTalks.com. It's always brought to you by the Lamarck Automotive Complex. Ronnie Lamarck from Araby Park, doing you right out in Kenner. The Carr Corner, I-10 and Williams Boulevard. Inventory, price, service. He's got you covered. Yeah, on the Carr Corner. Right on the corner, right on the price. The big store for nearly 50 years. Lamarck Lincoln, too. Both number one in the region. The Lincoln dealership's the number one Lincoln dealer in the state of Louisiana. The Lamarck Automotive Complex in Kenner. And now Lamarck Crescent City Ford in Elmwood on Jefferson Highway. The legendary Ford truck and SUV dealership now under the Lamarck umbrella. Every day, this program brought to you by the Lamarck Automotive Complex, and now Lamarck Crescent City Ford. Tough to beat, Ronnie Lamarck from Araby Park. Plus, it's the end of the month. You know, cars have a loan on them. Literally, each individual vehicle, they don't get a loan for 20 cars. Each car has its own loan where the dealership pays interest on that loan. So the loans are maturing at the end of the month. It's the last day of the month right now. Tonight would be a great time. Right now would be a great time to head to one of those two Lamarck dealerships, the big store in Kenner or Lamarck Crescent City Ford in Elmwood. Hey, it is a Fantasy Friday edition of the program. The next week to 10 days looks like a lot of 70s and 80s. And that rain we were expecting today, tomorrow, doesn't appear to be happening, which is fantastic. Doesn't get much better than that. Hogs for the Cause going on as we speak out by the UNO Lakefront Arena. They'll go deep into the night, and they go tomorrow during the day and then again deep into the night. I'm talking like 10, 11 o'clock. Pretty cool, a different kind of event, not ending like at 6 or 7, but going into the night like 10, 11 o'clock, maybe even midnight. Hogs for the Cause tonight out at UNO's Lakefront Arena, behind the arena, actually. The arena's not part of it, in between the arena and the lake. That would be like Franklin and Lakeshore Drive, Franklin at Leon C. Simon. Going tonight, going tomorrow, and into tomorrow night, the annual Hogs for the Cause. I think they're 15 years into it. They were out by City Park at the old South Course, by Desai and Wisner, by I-610 in the overpass, that kind of parade ground. Then I think they went to Bell Chase for a year. And then now they're in a really good spot out where the Pope spoke about 35 years ago or so, out by UNO's Lakefront Arena. New Orleans has over 2,000 auto thefts so far in 2023. Isn't that mind-boggling? So far in 2023, in 90 days, 2,070 cars have been stolen in Orleans Parish. That's 23 a day exactly. 23 a day. That's essentially every hour or so, hour and 3 minutes, hour and 5 minutes, a vehicle is stolen in New Orleans. 24/7 on the hour, a vehicle stolen in Orleans Parish so far this year. Now, last year, over 4,300 vehicles were stolen in New Orleans. Already 2,070 this year. That trend continues. They'd nearly double up on last year's total. Would be like 8,280 vehicles stolen if this trend continues. Absolutely crazy. Kind of like the mayor refusing to give a statement or answer questions during the Public Integrity Bureau's investigation of Officer Jeffrey Vappy. Normally you would show up and you can plead the fifth or say no comment. The mayor refused to even show up. Very telling, very telling. A story breaking yesterday, the Office of Inspector General, we discussed it yesterday. They basically had to subpoena the sheriff's office because not once, not twice, 3 times, the sheriff's office has refused to give information requested by law by the Office of Inspector General. The Office of Inspector General is a city entity. It's taxpayer finance, but it has autonomy. It's part of the city budget. The council, the mayor can't change the budget, affect the OIG like it should be. Not that weak office in Jefferson that is a political joke. If they don't want to make it like New Orleans office and give it full autonomy, they might as well shut it down because it doesn't do a thing. Do you ever hear a report coming out of the Jefferson Parish Office of Inspector General? No, because the politicians control it, and they don't want to be scrutinized. In New Orleans, Bob Sarasoli, 20 years ago, set up the office right. Now, the middle few OIGs really didn't do too much, but this Ed Michel guy, he's cut out of the same cloth as Bob Sarasoli. He is doing the job relentlessly. I'm just hoping he doesn't burn out like Bob Sarasoli did, because it is a grind, especially when you're producing report after report, audit after audit, investigation after investigation. The OIG is nothing bad. It's only a positive. St. Tammany should have one. because it essentially is a CPA scrutinizing how our taxpayer money is being spent. And you want that money being spent efficiently and effectively, not being wasted or worse, being stolen. So like the OIG's investigation into the Orleans Parish Communication District that refused to give information by law, the mayor or the council should have stepped in, but they didn't. And the OIG had to sue the Orleans Parish Communications District. The OIG won that lawsuit. The OPCD appeals it. It goes to another court. More lawyer fees. They win that one as well. And finally, the OPCD had to give over the information that they were supposed to give over by law originally. It cost the Office of Inspector General $50,000 in legal fees because a city entity wouldn't cooperate like they're legally supposed to cooperate. Just mind-blowing. The sheriff's office doing the exact same thing. Hopefully this doesn't go to a court. Hopefully the sheriff's office doesn't do what the OPCD does and sue. And hopefully they turn over the information that the OIG has requested from the sheriff's office, not once, not twice, but 3 times. Sheriff Hudson just ignoring it where a subpoena had to be issued. I mean, it's mind-boggling. It is entirely unacceptable if you're an Orleans Parish citizen. No, it yells of probably 3 things. 1, the bookkeeping, the record keeping with the sheriff's department is probably atrocious. 2nd, the sheriff's department doesn't want to be looked into because it's probably painfully inefficient and broken. And 3rd, there might be criminal activity going down. So it's very telling when the OPCD doesn't cooperate and now the sheriff's office not cooperating when they have to by law. It's mind-blowing. The OIG by law is entitled to this information that they request. No, very, very telling. Hey, Michael Hecht usually joins us, but he is trying to stir up some business for New Orleans. He'll be back next Friday. That segment with Michael Hecht from Greater New Orleans Inc., always brought to you by Lakefront, the global manufacturing giant that continues to grow worldwide. Now, you local folks in the metro New Orleans area and beyond, Lakefront is hiring at their Elmwood facility, and Lakefront is hiring at their North Shore facility on I-12 outside of Hammond. For a full listing of positions available, go to Lakefront.com. Lakefront spelled L-A-I-T-R-A-M, Lakefront.com. And it's not like 3 job openings. It's dozens and dozens and dozens and dozens of job openings at Lakefront.com. They've got a job for you, a career for you. Do it now. Lakefront.com.
Come on down to New Orleans' own Bourbon Street, the toilet of the Crescent City. Literally. Need to urinate? Pee right on one of the historic buildings. Need to vomit? It's okay. Throw up right in the street. Bourbon Street. Prostitution, drugs, strip joints, daiquiri shops, and trinket stores. The toilet of the Crescent City. Come on down. It's Bourbon Street.
The Port of New Orleans is the gateway to global commerce, the economic engine that moves Louisiana and our country forward. For more than 125 years, Port Nola has continued to deliver the goods we use each and every day by river, rail, and by road. No matter what, it all happens right here, delivering Louisiana's future at the Port of New Orleans, your working river. Learn more about your Port of New Orleans. Visit portnola.com.
When a young man comes in and they walk into our store and you can see they're a little intimidated. Last week, I saw the young man. I said, "Hey, what can I do to give you a hand?" And he said, "Well, I'm here for an engagement ring, but I don't think I'm in the right place." So I got him to my desk, and within an hour, he had purchased an engagement ring, had spent $1,000, and he was treated like he spent a lot more, and I'm sure we have a customer for life. My name is Ken Friend of Friend & Company Fine Jewelers. You've got a friend in the jewelry business.
If you love Katie's Restaurant in Mid-City, you're going to love Bienvenue in Harahan. The same folks bringing a little of that New Orleans flavor to Hickory Avenue. If you love Katie's, come to Bienvenue on Hickory Avenue in Harahan.
Hi, this is Joey Helm. My dad, Bunky Helm, had a vision of a locally family-owned store serving the residential and commercial paint needs of New Orleans. I think Dad would be proud of today's Helm Paint and Decorating, and here's why. We have the best technical staff in the business, providing the best color matching service in Southeast Louisiana. Perfect matching for any color and any brand. And we'll save your color so you don't have to save those old cans. Helm Paint offers free 2-hour delivery. Our in-store decorators will assist you on deciding what color and type of paint to best showcase your home. But most importantly, as your local independent Benjamin Moore dealer, our products provide the greatest value in the paint industry. Superior coverage, and Benjamin Moore paint simply covers better and lasts longer. New Orleans is a city of vibrant color, and no one else provides the paints of New Orleans like Helm Paint and Decorating. Visit any of our 6 locations or online at helmpaint.com.
Helm Paint, let us do you right. Helm Paint and Supply.
It's time to relax. The Woodhouse Day Spa, Metro New Orleans' premier day spa experience, now with 5 area locations. For a day of relaxation or maybe just a quick 1-hour getaway, the Metro area's premier day spa experience is at the Woodhouse Day Spa, and now 5 area locations: New Orleans, Metairie, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and our newest location in Mandeville. The Woodhouse Day Spa, woodhousespas.com.
Which Metro New Orleans area restaurant made CNN's top 50 in America and ThrillList.com's top 25 and has served presidents at the White House for over 40 years? Trey Yen in Mandeville.
River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. NoAC.com, your cool spot. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. NoAC.com, your cool spot.
Hey y'all, it's Junket Cantrell, Mayor, City of New Orleans. We've decided to hold a contest where you can decide where I go next on my taxpayer finance vacation. I was thinking about Acapulco, but that's in the Western Hemisphere, and we can do a lot better than that. Think Europe, Asia, maybe even the Middle East. You know, if it's safe. You don't want old Junket Cantrell getting hurt. It's all about my vacation, having fun and spending the city's money on my entertainment. I'll be flying first class, of course, and I'll be bringing some administrative flunkies with me. It should only cost the city around $30,000, maybe $40,000. Help me pick my next city finance vacation. Go online, Cantrell Junket at cityofno.gov. and have a fleeced day.
Why wear the same old glasses that everyone else is wearing? Stand out from the crowd. Come to Art and Eyes. Art and Eyes is not your typical eyeglasses store. It's one of the finest eyewear shops in the country, right here in New Orleans, with precision-engineered prescription lenses and gorgeous high-quality frames from the heart of Europe, Japan, and the United States. Our products are thoughtfully curated, and our staff are here to help you find exactly the right frames. Art and Eyes are magazine, as unique as you.
Rouse's, New Orleans grocery store. Rouse's has the only full-service grocery stores both in the French Quarter on Royal Street and in the CBD on Baronne in the old Sewell Cadillac building. The Rouse's on the river, Tchoupitoulas at Napoleon, is in a century-old warehouse. And uptown on Ferret at the corner of Valence is Rouse's all-new boutique store. With 7 locations in Orleans Parish, Rouse's is New Orleans grocery store. Rouse's Markets. Taste like home. Fausto's Italian Bistro on Veterans Boulevard, where the brothers Fausto and Roland are serving some of the city's finest Sicilian and Italian cuisine. From New Orleans' first family of Sicilian and Italian cooking, Fausto's Italian Bistro on Vets.
Hi, everyone. It's Tommy Wrong for AsbestosMoneyGrab.com. This is not, I repeat, not for folks with real asbestos problems. But if you're like me and we're maybe taking a shop class in high school where you maybe breathed in some brake dust and you know for certain you're fine, but you're the type of person that takes advantage of these types of situations, get tested, lawyer up, and steal some money like me. Go to I'm not really hurt at all, but like exploiting the system for free cash.com.
Nice. That's a good way to start the weekend. I think that's what, Sonny Landreth? Oh, yeah. Check this guy out on guitar. Eric Clapton said Sonny Landreth, one of the best guitarists in the world, said he's better than me. Eric Clapton might be onto something. Lafayette's own Sonny Landreth. Go to YouTube and check out some of his stuff. And if you do have a chance to check him out live in concert, go do it. Sonny Landreth is incredible. Jason, I don't know if Sonny Landreth's been playing at Jazz Fest recently. I don't remember seeing his name up there. Now, Sonny Landreth's up in age a little bit. I know he's older than me. I wouldn't doubt if Sonny Landreth's like, kind of Eric Clapton's age. He might be like in his 70s or so. If I had to guess, I'd think Sonny Landreth, definitely north of 65. I'm going to guess 68 years old. In the 70s? He's 72. Yeah, maybe that's why. Maybe he's slowing it down a little bit. No, he can absolutely play. The thing that's amazing about Sonny Landreth, he'll play his riff, and then like in between the two little riffs for a second or two, he'll add something else down the, slide down the guitar, and then get right back to the other riff. He's sort of like playing two guitars at once almost. It's pretty amazing. Really, really good stuff. Sonny Landreth from Cajun Country. It is a Fantasy Friday edition of the program. Corey Johnson with you. Coming up in less than 10 minutes on ESPN, nationwide television audience. It's game 1 of 2 women's Final Four games from Dallas. The LSU Lady Tigers taking on the Virginia Tech Lady Hokies. That's less than 10 minutes away. I'm a little nervous as a Tiger graduate, class of 91, LSU fan, Kim Mulkey fan. We had her on the show Monday. You can go to our YouTube channel, Corey Johnson Neutral Ground, and check out that interview. Now would be a good time because it's about 10 minutes long. Get a little preview. Find out what the coach is thinking. I'm a little nervous because a lot of this rise for Mulkey, and it's local for sure, but also nationally. It's about Kim Mulkey. It's about the outfits. It's about reaching the Final Four. It's about the quick rise of the program. It's about the Texas reunion, being in Dallas, an hour and a half from Waco, a potential national title game rematch against South Carolina, all SEC, Angel Reese, the Bayou Barbie, on and on and on. What about Virginia Tech? Let's not forget about Virginia Tech, which, I mean, this could be like the, perfect storm in the opposite direction for LSU. Virginia Tech is a junior and senior laden team. These players have been on that team, on that program for 4 and 5 years, some getting an extra year because of coronavirus crisis. They didn't make it to the Final Four in Dallas by default, by accident. They're a very good team. They've got size, outside shooting. They defend well. So LSU, Kim Mulkey, the Lady Tigers, they 110% have their hands full in less than 10 minutes from Dallas on ESPN in this ladies' Final Four. A little after that game, a little bit after 8 o'clock from Dallas, it's Iowa and undefeated South Carolina. Iowa and undefeated South Carolina. No, it could be an all-SEC national title game. South Carolina's favored to make the title game. They're favored to win it all. But also, I think, I think Dawn Staley's just like Kim Mulkey. Hyper competitive, dots all the I's, crosses all the T's. I think those two, I'm serious, are more competitive than Nick Saban or Bill Belichick. Belichick, by the way, was at Tigers Town at LSU's spring practices, visiting with Brian Kelly this week. But I just think that Iowa, with that sharp shooting guard that can bomb it from all over, if she's hot tonight and canning a bunch of threes and she shoots them from NBA three-point range, literally 4 or 5 feet behind. Watch tonight. 4 or 5 feet behind the ladies' three-point line. behind the college men's line, behind the NBA line. She can jack it up from all over a la Steph Curry. No, Iowa gets hot, and if Dawn Staley in South Carolina is buying in all the hype, LSU buying in the hype, it might be an Iowa-Virginia Tech final. But, boy, wouldn't you love to see LSU, South Carolina? First things first, Tigers have to beat Virginia Tech. I think this is a pure 100% toss-up, 50-50. Either team can win this game. It's going to be like LSU, Utah a couple of games ago, the Sweet 16 game. LSU and Utah just bounced back and forth. 2-point lead for LSU, 2-point lead for Utah. Just went back and forth. About the last minute and a half, 2 minutes, LSU, they were like 0 for 10. Finally started making some threes and pulled away by a few points. What's that, Blue Boy? Should be some great basketball in the women's Final Four in Dallas. You're right. Men's Final Four starts tomorrow from Houston. Have a great weekend. Hogs for the Cause going on today and tomorrow. See you Monday.
You're on the neutral ground with Corey Johnson. On TV on Cox Channel 4 and Spectrum Channel 333. Also on YouTube. On radio at NOLA Talk 93.9 FM, WSLA New Orleans.
Hi, it's Ken Friend from Friend & Company Fine Jewelers. You've got a friend in the jewelry business. Come see us over on Maple Street in Uptown.
Friend & Company Fine Jewelers, Breitling time, 6 p.m.